inspiration to us, and we are absolutely blown away by your courage and determination. Keep on going, buddy. You've got this, and we are right behind you. 1 mile at a time. All the best from me and the All Blacks family. Cheers, mate.
Times when some self-doubt comes in, but at the end of the day, you've really basically just got to just grit your teeth and get on with it if you really want to do it, because the only other option is quitting, really. And so if you keep it simple between quitting and getting stuck on with it, then it gives you a pretty simple choice, really.
Come to compete and race across America. What's billed as the world's toughest bike race. As Josh said, 5,000 kilometres long, crosses 12 states, 3 mountain ranges, a couple of deserts, and climbing vertically about 54,000 metres. How did I get here? After all, I sat in my school hall with no special characteristics. I was a bit of a chubby kid who preferred to hide amongst the crowd than try and stand out. I was competitive, but I didn't possess any unique talents, and I certainly didn't have any idea what ultra endurance sport was. It all started with me with the sport of rowing. Rowing was where I first really developed a passion for something. A place where I started to dream and think of the future. Some of you boys probably know that it's a very demanding sport, but it's hugely rewarding. It taught me the importance of work ethic and how with hard work you can develop success. You get out of it what you put into it, they said to me. If it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth doing. So from a young age, I began to learn and establish this trait of hard work. You can give someone all the skills in the world and resources, but if they're not willing to do the work, then they're never going to be successful. I slowly realised that attitude and effort far outweighed natural talent. But sometimes, in fact most of the time, doing the work requires taking a different path than your friends. Sometimes doing what is required means making sacrifices. Last year I had this dream to be competitive against some of the world's best endurance cyclists. It required me asking people for help. It required me giving up the security of my income. It meant I had to front up and train harder than I ever had before. It meant that when people rubbished me and genuinely said to me that I was crazy and asked why I wasn't doing something normal, that I had to look deep inside and believe myself. I had a dream and it required thinking and acting differently to what I had done previously. My point is, you don't have to be what you have been. It is okay to want to change. Maybe that requires being different from others, but if it's true to your heart and your values and beliefs, then you need to follow that dream. Had I not been brave enough to change and give new things a go, then I would not have prepared the way I did before the race. I did a lot of mental preparation in my build-up. It required at times sitting down and reading or talking when I normally would have been doing something physical. On my bike or trying to be fitter and stronger. I had to open my mind to this new way of thinking and consider the importance of the mental preparation for such as running a race. In the past, I never put much effort into mental preparation. So this time it was different. I'm glad I did, because on day 7 of racing across America, I was tested to my absolute limits. Nothing physical was going to help me. It was all in my mindset. My biggest challenge of the whole race was not physical. The seat chafe, numb hands and feet, sore knees, aching muscles, nerve damage, they were nothing compared to the battle that I had with sleep deprivation and the subsequent deja vu. I had moments when I was convinced I was riding on the same roads that I had done earlier in the day. Even moments when I thought I knew what was around the corner. I remember repeatedly asking the crew why we were going around in circles. I cannot stress how tough this was. It knocked my confidence and left me really confused. My crew handled it pretty well, as best as they could, and encouraged me to keep pushing forward. Behind my back, they were no doubt laughing in the car. We've all joked about it since, but at the time it was pretty scary. Another change I had to face was with the nutrition. In order for my body to handle 255 hours of non-stop racing, you can probably appreciate the physical stresses that you get with so much racing, and it can cause problems with things like digestion. To overcome this and to also help with hydration, I switched to a liquid-only diet for all my training and racing. It was tough at first, but slowly I got used to it and I could see the benefits. And I ended up racing for 10.5 days, virtually liquid only, with no stomach upsets, no dehydration, and no major slumps in energy. These things wouldn't have happened had I not been prepared to act differently. When I was younger, I experienced many ups and downs with rowing, probably more setbacks than triumphs. And so, when I retired from rowing at a young age, I had this feeling of unfinished business. I had been told I wasn't good enough. My results were not fast enough, and I accepted that as truth. My first big mistake. I let other people determine my pathway. This may resonate with some of you here. Maybe you've been told you're too tall or short, too fast or too slow, or you're better off trying a different sport. Maybe your peers even tell you what sport you should or shouldn't do. People are always going to give you their opinion or advice. In the end, it doesn't really matter what they say. You can decide whether you listen to all of it, some of it, or none of it. What matters is what you do. Your intentions don't even account for anything. What matters most is actually what you do. I have a saying, if you want to get to know someone, you pay attention to 10% of what they do, say, and 90% of what they do. I recently had the pleasure of working with a student who happens to be here tonight. He came to me asking for some help with his training program. I helped out as best as I could, and off he went. It immediately became apparent to me that this guy was unique. Not because he had some great skills or the best physique, not because he possessed the best equipment or lived in the best training environment. No, he's unique because his attitude and effort are very, very good. He's willing to do the work. Even when he's tired, when it's dark, when it was inconvenient. I never had to motivate or coach him into doing the hard sessions. He went on to perform very well and achieved the result he wanted, and immediately thanked me for my help. Naturally, I said my congratulations, but I made it clear to him that I did nothing. He was the one that did the work. He understood that there was a difference between saying you were going to do something and actually following through. The decision and choice he made was his, not mine. When I started this American campaign last year, I needed to make sure that I stayed on the right path, on the path that I wanted. That's not to say I didn't listen to anybody else. On the contrary, I was attempting something for the first time. So I spoke to a lot of people, read a lot of books, listened to hundreds of podcasts, and discussed numerous options with my support group. But I always knew that I was the one responsible. I was the person that was going to have to ride the bike. So I needed to be responsible for my actions. I needed to know that when the going got tough, there was only one person I could rely on, and that was me. This ownership and subsequent responsibility was crucial. One of the toughest things I did as part of my training was not on the road. It was here, inside this 4x4 square room with no windows, an environment chamber that was offered to me by the Waikato University. We needed to simulate the desert heat, and so we set this at 40 degrees, 20% humidity. It sounds brutal, and it was. You try sitting in there for 24 hours. And the really tough thing is I had to go back 3 times. But it was a lesson in resilience as much as anything. It made me stronger. When I got here to Arizona on day 2 of the race, I faced temperatures of 46 degrees. For the first 36 hours of the race, the temperature didn't drop below 32. My training and decisions to take ownership of my destiny had paid off. I felt comfortable through these conditions, to a point where I actually welcomed the heat. I prepared for the race over 12 months with no specific training plan. I know that might sound strange, but over many years of competing, I've learned a lot of things about myself. I know how my body responds to what I do, so it's just a matter of being disciplined and doing the basics right. There were certain rides and events that I wanted to do, but I always remained flexible. I trained hard, but I also listened to what felt right. From July to June this year, I clocked up 23,000 Ks on the road. Some guys in the race did a lot more, and some did a lot less, but this worked for me. And that's my point. You need to do what's right for you. The same game plan that worked for Anton Oliver or Graham Miller is not necessarily going to work for you. as you get older, you'll get better at recognising the importance of this. I know it can be hard making decisions. You'll be faced with many decisions as you continue your sports through school and beyond. Just remember, take ownership of everything you do and make sure that you're following your pathway, not someone else's. Always stay true to your values and beliefs. The third rule of mine, which I wish to share, is in my opinion the most important message. Had I not dared to dream big, I would not have tried. Had I not faced up to those voices inside my head, I wouldn't have even come close to finishing. I wouldn't have even started. There were days in the previous year when I wondered if I was doing the right thing. I'd question my ability to raise the money. I'd wonder if I was wasting my support crew's time and asking them to do too much. I'd look at the stars and wonder what was going to happen on day 4 when I reached the Great Plains of Kansas. The long straight roads and seemingly never-ending horizon. Would they be too much? Was I going to have the strength to carry on? Would the Rocky Mountains prove too steep? All these questions and more came into my head regularly. It was scary at times. I'd invested so much into this and I didn't want to fail. But I believed in myself. I'd worked hard to see beyond the actual race. To me, it was a whole lot more than just riding. I had established a strong purpose. I'd formed an amazing team around me and I created a positive mindset that was willing to go places that I'd never been. Literally, I've never been to Indiana. Got no desire to go back. What I'm trying to say is that I had a dream that I created in my head, one that had already finished the way I wanted. I envisaged biking across these great plains with ease. I knew that I'd done the heat training preparation, and so actually looked forward to those 46 degrees. I told myself I'd get stronger through the race, and thought about what this felt like. I had preempted the way I wanted to feel at these points in the race. So when it came to the start line, I can honestly say that I knew I was going to finish, despite the fact that over half the entrants each year DNF. Despite the fact that I was a rookie in a field where some were competing for their 9th or 10th race. I had the self-belief that I needed. And once I'd started the race in California, I knew that I was destined for the finish line. I had dreamed big enough. The 3 rules that I've shared with you tonight come from a list I made at the beginning of my training. I wrote them and pinned them in my garage next to my indoor trainer where I keep my bikes, so I'd see it every day. They were quite simply my rules to ride by. And each day that I was struggling or I needed some extra motivation or help with something or a decision to make, I read the list and there was always something there that sparked an idea or was relevant to how I was feeling. The list summed up my values and beliefs and how I wanted the campaign to evolve. I shared with you rules 6, 7 and 8. I want you to know it's okay to dream big, it's okay to change, and it's up to you to create your journey. My dream had me finish as a rookie first-time racer in 4th place overall. The 3 guys who finished in front of me had raced this race a combined total of 20 times. I completed the race in 10 days, 15 hours, meaning I covered an average of 462 kilometres per day. Over that time, I clocked up a huge total of 9 hours sleep, had consumed hundreds of litres of liquid and pedalled just over 1 million pedal turns. We were all so sleep deprived that there wasn't much energy for celebration. The feeling at the finish was mostly relief, I guess. I was relieved to have safely finished, and I could lie down without having to get up. Now that I can look back on the whole preparation and race with some perspective, I'm extremely proud. I received amazing support and continue to through Marlborough and in the community, and I'm forever grateful. I've learned that the human body is a powerful thing. I've learned that we are much more physically capable than we realise. It is normally our mental strength that breaks before our physical. And when we can understand this, we can achieve so much more as people, as friends, as parents, and as athletes. I'd like to congratulate all the boys here tonight. May you continue to grow and develop as young Melburnians as well as athletes. To compete in a chosen field is a privilege. Please don't waste or abuse the opportunity. Good night.
Like the light, we'll see you soon. Give up yourself and dive into the moon. And I don't mind being with you, knowing I'm by myself. There's a river in all of us that's dry, as you are in me. There's a river in all of us that's dry.